In the last video we looked at using parent and child objects. The one thing that's missing now from dealing with the enemies is once we shoot an enemy with a bullet, there's a collision between the two objects, we need to make sure that we add a score, if that's the way you want to go with your game, to our current score. So this is a pretty straightforward tutorial. It pretty much mirrors the tutorial that we did for collectible objects. So I'm just going to run through this pretty quickly, okay? So what we want to happen is when we shoot one of our enemies, I'm going to say that we're going to add 100 points to our score. The value you add to your score is entirely up to you. So I'm going to look at my objects, and I'm going to look at my bullet object, because that is the object that collides with the enemy. So this is our enemy, so regardless of which enemy we shoot, it'll apply the score regardless. If you'd rather add different scores for different enemies, then you would have to set up the collision event on the different enemies that you've got, rather than it being on the bullet. So here we go. So I'm just going to open up the object, the collision event. So you can see here that when the bullet collides with the enemy, we destroy the instance, okay, of self. So that destroys the bullet. We also destroy the instance of other, and that is the enemy. So in order to add a score, what we need to do is to apply a score to our GUI controller object. Okay, so we are going to apply to, and this is the apply to. We've used this before. So it's going to drag and drop that in. Make sure that you use the arrow, and you make sure you select your appropriate object, which is the OBJ controller _ GUI in my case. I don't know what you've called yours. Okay, so that applies it to that particular object, and now all we need to do is to set the score. So I'm going to get rid of that, type in set score. There's the set score. I'm just going to click, and I'm going to drag it onto the right hand side of the apply to, and I'm going to add 100 points to the score, and make sure that you select relative, because that will add the score to the current value of score. So let's go ahead and see how that works in game. So if I use my bullets, you can see now that I've added a score of 100. Okay, so let's go and collect a collectible object. So that should be 50 points. There we go. And then I shoot another enemy, if I can time it right. There we go, 250. So that's working fine. So that's how you allocate point scores for killing enemies in your game.